Welcome to SwillinGrog's wonderful world of beer. Apologies for the long delay between reviews. As you can see, Benelzebub's here. He's surfaced from the Netherworld to join me for a review. Now, we had actually hoped to do a review earlier this month for St. Patrick's Day, but sadly that did not come to pass. But, as you can see, we have a beer here to review from the fatherland. It's König Ludwig Dunkel, 5.1% ABV, brewed and bottled by König Ludwig International in Germany, the fatherland. Now, this is in fact the most popular Dunkel in Germany, and like all good German beers, it's brewed according to the Bavarian purity law of 1516, also known as Reinheitsgebot. Now, Mr. Benelzebub.
Interesting that we should mention this, just a little bit on the German part of this. It's called König Ludwig
Dunkel,
right?
As in dark lager.
Well, König in German means king. Dunkel means dark. Ludwig means Ludwig.
Ludwig means Ludwig.
It does.
Fascinating.
Fascinating, yes. And Reinheitsgebot is like a big word that we won't worry about right now. I did want to, just completely changing the subject as I want to do, I did want to summon Seamus for St. Patrick's Day, but we just couldn't get the beers that we wanted for St. Patrick's Day. We couldn't get the opportunities, we couldn't get the time slots, so it was rather unfortunate. And besides that, last time I tried summoning him, I lost him.
You lost him?
Yeah, I sort of... You know how the immortal Dean Weston sort of zapped out of the ether from the other side of the universe? Well, I think that's where I lost Seamus. I'm not quite sure, but I did lose him at one stage. And it wasn't really my fault.
Alright, well, I think it's time that we actually moved on to reviewing this beer. This lovely König Ludwig Dunkel. Alright, that comes in a very lovely 500ml brown bottle. And yeah, we've got some beautiful Hofbrau steins to pour it into as well.
I'm getting this weird feeling. I'm getting this weird feeling. I think I might have to summon. Ah! Wah!
Oh, top of the morning there, boys.
Hi, it's Seamus!
It's Seamus!
And a magpie goose, but you can't see that on camera. Seamus! Where have you been?
Well, I've been for a little swim in the southern Indian Ocean, and then I went to the end of the rainbow.
Oh! Did you find any gold?
There's no gold there, unfortunately, due to the economic downturn. It's now pyrite.
Well, in that case, you'd better join us for a beer.
I think I'd like that, fellas.
I think you should.
Do you, Paul?
All
Due
right,
to the
well,
magic of
I'll let
television, we have come up with an extra one for Seamus. Look at this. We have a 500ml stein here, a Paulaner stein for Seamus. That would just likely just happen to magic up at the same time as Seamus did. And we'll just let that settle while we'll do another one. And because you're the host, we're doing your own.
Oh, okay.
That's a Benelzebub thing. From the Netherworld, believe it or not. It's pouring rather lovely, isn't it? Look at that. Here we go. Okay. One for Mr. Dave. I'm feeling quite the host here.
That should be 3 glasses.
Oh, it would. So how was the walk back from Perth?
Which is fairly long, fairly long. Well, I didn't quite walk, I river danced.
River danced.
Oh, the slightly
Seems quite
more,
appropriate.
slightly more energy sapping, shall we say, and got a little bit of tan on the way as well.
I can see you've sort of shamrocked up there, yeah.
And on the way, I got a knighthood from Tony Abbott as well. So you are now looking at Sir Seamus O'Flatulence the Third.
Ah! Well, here's to you, Sir Seamus.
Bow when you talk to me from now on.
I did. Didn't you see that? There we go. A bit more for me, a bit more for you, a bit for you. What have you done to yours?
You poured it. All right. Okay, well, let's make an assessment of the appearance, shall we? Well, looking at the appearance, it's a very, you could call it a very dark amber-like colour, or bordering on brown.
Almost, like a tar, like a bitumen kind of colour.
Yeah.
It's that kind of brown that you see.
If you hold it up to the light, you can definitely, see that it's amber, but...
It's like a burnt caramel, isn't it?
Yeah, very, dark burnt caramel. Like, yeah, dark amber, brown. Like, it's fairly clear, actually, too. Like, I was expecting it to be a bit murkier.
Yes, you can actually see your fingers.
Yeah. So it's definitely been filtered. Now, gee whiz, mine's got a good... Even though it's dissipated, I think when you poured it, it had a good 6 fingers of head. But
mine's got about 2.5.
So I've got about 4 fingers there of, beige head.
Seamus has got
very
one
frothy
tentacle.
beige
Mine's
head.
down to a pinky, but I cheated.
Let me top this up a little anyway. Alright, so yes, we've talked about the appearance. So that would only mean that it's time to move on to the aroma. So let's have a good sniff of this one.
The malts are there.
Oh, very malty. Like I'm definitely picking up a lot of, dark, roasted malts there.
Shamrock.
Oh, that's really coming through, yeah. I anticipate this is going to be most delicious.
Like molasses kind of malt.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Very molassesy.
Is molasses a word?
No, it's not. It's much like malty, that's not a word either.
Okay.
Yeah, but, yeah. Yes, it is rather molassesy. Oh, but, yes.
So if you had 2 of them, would they be molasses-y?
Quite possibly, Mr. Benelzebub. Quite possibly. Okay, well, we've talked about the appearance and we've talked about the aroma, which could only mean that it is actually time for the most important part of the review, the taste test.
With the aroma, I think we missed out. There's a little bit of a kind of a rye, barley kind of like you can smell the grain along with
There's a bit of a breadiness to it there.
Not so much bready, but you can actually, I think, more grainy.
To me, it's just, malty goodness, coming through.
Malty goodness.
Yeah, malty goodness,
With molasses-ness.
With molasses-ness.
It's like a multivitamin.
Yeah.
It's a multivitamin indeed.
I'm certain that it is actually full of many vitamins and minerals. Yes. All right, well,
Taste test.
taste test.
Down the hatch.
Proust!
Ah.
Quite nice.
Well, the taste does certainly follow the nose. I mean, there's a beautiful malt presence up front. Actually, it's a lot sweeter than
It's a very sweet molasses flavour. It's very round and it's very smooth.
It's a lot sweeter than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
Definitely a lot
it fully
sweeter.
follows the molasses profile. Yeah,
Very nice.
very rich, but it's not sickly sweet. It's actually very moorish kind of sweet.
I think it's just got a good sort of subtle sweetness to it, that makes it, quite, palatable.
I'm not sure. So
It's definitely not sickly sweet. It's more a palatable sort of sweetness.
yeah, it's not so much subtle. It's actually forward, but it rolls on from the malty caramel kind of burnt caramel taste.
Yeah, definitely a burnt caramel taste, but it's like you taste it, you take that first sip and you're just like, wow.
And then you suddenly roll into the molasses kind of taste. It's very nice, very cool.
Yeah. The hop presence, the bitterness is very minimal.
Not very bitter at all.
Yeah.
What you'd expect from
Maybe
a
there's a
dark beer.
very, very mild sort of leafy kind of bitterness there just to kind of balance things out, but
It's as though the hops in the background.
yeah, they're very much in the background. But,
I'd recommend 6 or 7 as a second opinion.
Indeed.
So
All right.
speaking of that, how sessionable is it?
Well, I think that at 5.1% ABV, it's certainly something that you could make a session of. It's definitely got a good drinkability about it. One question that really springs to mind that you might be able to answer, or you, Seamus, is what season do you think it would really suit here in Australia?
I think it's a bit of a late autumny beer, perhaps in the winter as well. A nice warmer for the tummy during the middle of winter when you're having your stew.
Pairing with stew.
Very with stew. Yes.
I have a tendency to agree. Definitely autumn, late autumn. Winter, this would be a good precursor to a stout. And
Go well in a beef and Guinness pie.
absolutely. Yeah.
Well,
And,
it's certainly got a taste profile that doesn't overload the palate, so
yeah.
you can really, session the crap out of it.
Yeah, and I think in late autumn, coming to winter, those kind of the last kind of days that you get out and build a fire before it's too cold to actually do that, too cold and wet, and you need something nice and fortifying while you're around
It's
the fire.
good for the mild Aussie winter that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely one that's good for the mild Aussie
Absolutely,
winter.
this is very fulsome, great tummy warmer, as you say.
A beer that requires further investigation.
Absolutely.
Now, let's talk a little about the price point. Now, unfortunately, folks, this is where it suffers. $7 a bottle, and unfortunately, there was no, 4-pack or, carton, price offered by the retailer, which really sucked immensely. So it cost me, $21 just to buy these 3 beers for us. And sadly, that kind of places it in the category of, beers that I've just picked up for the sake of, tasting and reviewing, in a kind of, just in a one-off kind of scenario. So unless someone like First Choice or Dan Murphy's gets this and offers it for a decent price, I don't think I'll have it again, which is kind of sad because I really like it.
Well, let's say that, if you're looking at these days, we're seeing cartons of Stella cans imported, Beck's cans imported, Heineken cans imported, and they're all 500ml cans, and there's 2 dozen in a carton, and they're under $60. For a 500ml bottle, they really need to lift their game to be able to put it in the price point.
Drop
that
their price.
Makes it absolutely lift their game and drop their price to put it in a price point that's actually affordable for people so that they can experience these beers. Because you can't have a King Ludwig without a nation to enjoy it.
Well, that's the thing. It makes me feel like Ludwig and Beethoven. Real cranky. This is the price.
I almost feel like there's no point me telling you about this and telling you how excellent it is when, you can't go out and find it, when it's so goddamn hard to find.
Yeah, one of the big problems with these kind of reviews is that we do come across some absolutely extraordinary beers that are worth, unleashing on your palate. But because of their accessibility or their price point, they're quite prohibitive, and it's just a pity that more of you out there in beer loving land could not experience these on a regular basis.
All right, well, I think with this sun going down here, it's time to wrap this up, fellas.
The sun is going down.
It's the bottom of the morning.
It's the bottom of the morning.
The bottom of the morning to you too.
All right, so what would we give this one in terms of a score out of 10?
Out of 10, when you consider that this is a Dunkel, this is a dark beer, and it's in the region of the German purity law dark beers. We've reviewed a couple of them so far, like the Furstenberg and that sort of thing. They're absolutely extraordinary beers compared to other dark beers around the world. This being the most popular, I can see why. I think it's because it's got that kind of sweet profile, whereas Furstenberg is maybe a bit drier. I would definitely rate this very highly. I'm going to give it a 9.7.
Okay, well, I'd probably have to agree with you, Mr. Benelzebub. I think, yeah, definitely deserving of about a 9.7.
I think that's a complete outrage. I don't know what you're talking about. I'd only give it a 9.6.
Okay.
We've lost Benelzebub.
Benelzebub's doing some calculations.
7.1? No, 9.1. 9.1 that comes out as an average.
How can that come out at 9.1 when you've got 9.6 and 9.7 and somewhere between 9.6 and
I don't know, but somewhere in the... I think I lost that when I lost Seamus in the
How about 9.65?
No, hang on. No, hang on. It's 29.
Actually, because the sun's falling rapidly, let's just all agree on 9.65.
No, it will be 9 point...
This always happens, folks.
No, obviously...
It's after a few more.
I've obviously had too many. It's actually going to be around about 9.63.
9.63.
Something like that.
Alright, well that's a pretty damn good score, I have to say, for this lovely König Ludwig Dunkel from the fatherland. Alright, so thanks for joining us, folks, for yet another SwillinGrog beer review. We hope to return soon with something just as fascinating and delectable and divine as this.
Cheerio.
So, cheers to you all. Fare thee well.
Faust.